Here we go. A food concession owner, somebody selling food at a mall, sold 120 beef, vegetable, and pork sliders in 7 days. There's the three kinds: beef, vegetable, and pork. 20% of the sliders were beef and 15% were vegetable. How many, not what percent, but how many pork sliders were sold, okay, out of those 120? So what we want to do is we want to think about the percentages and say, okay, if 20% of the sliders were beef and 15% were vegetables, then how much of the full 100% was that? Well, if we add 20% and 15% together, we get 35% of those were beef or vegetable. So the remaining amount must be pork. So we're saying then, okay, what's that full 100% of all of the food that he sold? Take away the 35% that was the vegetable and pork. I'm sorry, vegetable and beef. So the 35% that was vegetable and beef, you take that away from the full 100%, and what you find out is 65% is left over, and then that must be the percent of the 120 that he sold that were pork. So we need to convert that into a decimal in order to calculate it. And it's a fact that 65% equals 0.65. And if we just explain that really briefly here, 100% is the whole amount, and that's equal to 1. Okay? You're essentially taking always the decimal where it is at the end if you don't see it, and moving it over 2 places in order to turn it into a decimal number. And moving it over 2 places makes it 1.00 or 1. Okay? 50%, if you moved the decimal over from where it is here at the end, 2 places, would be 0.5. And that should make sense. 0.5 or 0.5 is equal to a half, just like 50% is. Okay? And so on. We could say 25% equals 0.25. Okay? So if I get rid of all of this and say, okay, so I need to take that 120 sliders and say what's 65% of it and calculate it out. Let me do that right now. Okay, so here I've done the multiplication, but you might have a calculator, so you can just do 0.65 times the 120, and what you find is that you get 78 pork sliders sold. There you go. If you have questions about this, you want to review some of these ideas more, let me know and we'll do that together.